Hello everyone, I am Harsimrit and I welcome you to our session on the V and W sounds. Both the sounds sound similar to us. In fact, we may not be even aware that they are two separate sounds. Although we are aware that there's a letter V and a letter W, we don't really know that both the letters are associated with two different sounds. You see, in our languages, Hindi or Punjabi, there's only one akshar, the V in Hindi or the Vawa in Punjabi. But in English, there are two distinct sounds. Both of them are different and we have to pronounce them correctly. In this session, we will focus on enunciating the V and W sound correctly. We will of course use these sounds in words and sentences. We have some activities and games for you so that we can reinforce our learning. So let's proceed with the session. Let us begin with the V sound. Everybody, I'd like you to place your hand on your vocal cords. V. Bite your lip and say V. Can you see my teeth on my lower lip? V. 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 Tell me, is there vibration in the throat when we say V? Is it a voiceless or a voiced sound? V. There's plenty of vibration in the throat. The sound is voiced. The next thing, you have noticed my teeth on my lip, haven't you? Whenever we enunciate this sound, our lower lip has to come in contact with our upper front teeth. Simply put, you bite your lip. V. It's a very strange thing to do. We may not have ever done it before. But let's start now. V. So bite your lip. The sound is labiodental. Labio comes from lab or the lip. Dental, of course, is associated with the teeth. So the lower lip and the upper teeth make the sound V. And the third thing we need to know is that this sound is a fricative. And we do understand what a fricative is. The term comes from friction. Ragad ki jo आवाज होती है. When our teeth come in contact with our lower lip, the air passes from the sides of the teeth. There's a narrowing of the opening and the breath passes from that narrowing. So it creates a friction. That is the audible friction of the sound V. In order to enunciate the sound correctly, the sound must be voiced, articulated in the right manner, the labiodental sound, and there must be audible friction. So everybody please join me. V. 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 Good. Now let us practice enunciating the V sound in words. There's a table in your workbooks. It's got 3 columns. We'll start with the V sound at the beginning of the word. So please repeat after me. Van. Van. I don't want you to say van. I want to hear the friction of the V sound. Van. Van. Next, verb. Verb. Next, vest. Vest. Louder. Vest. Next, vine. Vine. Don't forget the I sound, please. After the right ver, I also want to hear the I sound. Vine. Next, vast. 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 And the last word in this sequence, vase. Vase. Vase is also correct. Vase. Now let's practice the ver sound in the middle of the word. Everyone, please repeat after me. Over. 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 Next, avoid. Avoid. Are you finding that difficult? Take your time. Avoid. Next, event. Event. Next, river. Not river, but river. 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 Next, driver. 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 Next, the number 7. Not 7. 7. 7. So there's a simple rule here. Always, always bite your lip. And finally, let's consider the ver sound at the end of the word. Have. Have. Love. Love. Give. Give. Arrive. Arrive. Prove. Prove. And the last word, 12. 12. So you could hear the audible friction at the end of the word, right? Now I would like you to concentrate on a few larger words. And these are quite important because they're commonly mispronounced. You see, we don't bite our lip when we say ver. We weren't even aware of it, were we? Now we must make it a point to enunciate the ver sound properly, especially in these very important words. Please repeat after me. Conversation. Conversation. Once more. Conversation. Next, there is a ver sound at the end of these words. Positive. Positive. Negative. Negative. People tend to say positive. We have to make sure there's the ver. Positive and negative. Next, executive. Executive. Another very important word coming up, government. Government. Not government, please. Government. And the last word, environment. Environment. The minute you enunciate the ver sound correctly in these words, your pronunciation of these words will improve. And until and unless you do so, it won't. Next, we have a quiz in the session. And the quiz is very easy. We have to think of we words and phrases. We have to think of we words and phrases. That is, words which start with the sound ver. Are you ready? All right, let's begin. A color in the rainbow. A color in the rainbow which starts with V. Next, a planet. A planet in the solar system which starts with V. Next, an ice cream flavor. An ice cream flavor, believe me, you know it. Next, female fox. Female fox. Now, what would you call the fox in the feminine gender? You must have done it in school. Next, a music channel. A music channel. Next, a software program. A software program. Next, a country in South America. A country in South America. And the last one, smallest city in the world. Smallest city in the world. Now let's discuss the answers. A color in the rainbow. The first color in the rainbow is violet. Everybody bite your lip. Violet. Next, a planet. Venus. Venus. Next, an ice cream flavor. Vanilla. Next, female fox. The term for the female fox is vixen. V-I-X-E-N. Vixen. A music channel, Channel V. Some people may have written MTV, but I think Channel V would be a better option. Next, a software program, Windows Vista. Next, a country in South America, that is Venezuela. Venezuela. And the last one, smallest city in the world, that is the Vatican City. Vatican City. So how many of you managed to get all the answers right? That's a good number. I'm so glad to hear that. Now let's look at the V sound in sentences. These sentences are printed in your workbooks. I'll read them out for you. Please underline all the words in which you hear the V. The first sentence, I love to drive a van. The words with the V sound are love, drive and van. Next sentence, he had fever for 7 days. He had fever for 7 days. The words with the V sound are fever and 7. Next, the violet flowers look beautiful. The violet flowers look beautiful. The word with the V sound is violet. Next, they stood gazing at this heavenly vision. They stood gazing at this heavenly vision. Heavenly and vision both have the V sound. Next, he heard her voice but did not hear her words. He heard her voice but did not hear her words. Voice has the V sound. Voice has the V sound. Next, mobile phones emit harmful radioactive rays. Mobile phones emit harmful radioactive rays. Radioactive has V at the end of the word. Radioactive. I love to visit Shimla. I love to visit Shimla. I do. Love and visit. Last sentence. There is a visitor at your door. There's a visitor at your door. Visitor also has the V sound. Now, although it's a little difficult to start biting your lip at every V, I'll tell you how I did it. I used to mentally do this. हाथ दिख रहा है? Screen में हाथ. I used to mentally do this. And this was just an action to help me bite my lip. Love. Drive. Please repeat after me. Love. Drive. Van. Fever. 7. Violet. Vision. Heavenly. Voice. Radioactive. Victory. Love. Visit. Visitor. That's how I got used to biting my lip at every V sound. And that's what we have to do. Now let's move on to the other target sound. W. The letter W is associated with the W sound. And this sound is different from the V. It's different in every aspect. Everyone, please put your hand on your neck and say W. 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 You would feel some vibration. You would feel some vibration, right? W. W. The sound is voiced. And that's all that V and W or V and W have in common. Apart from the fact that they're both voiced sounds, they are different in all other respects. We have learnt that V is a labiodental sound in which the lower lip comes to the upper teeth, or we bite our lip. But W is a semi-vowel. In the W sound, in the W sound, the lips come close together before they part. W. 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 What you would hear is something like oo. 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 The oo sound happens when the lips come together. And the sound, w, when the lips part. Now I said that W is a semi-vowel. What do I mean? We have learned that vowels are sounds in which the breath comes out of the mouth with no blockage or obstruction in the mouth. Now in the case of certain sounds like W, Y, R, there is partial closure or there isn't complete obstruction or blockage. The air does come out of the mouth without obstruction or blockage, but the mouth is not wide open like in the vowel sounds. Here there is partial obstruction or blockage. So W is a semi-vowel. Everybody please say it with me. W. 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 And I'd also like you to tell me with what organs of speech do we pronounce W. I would also like you to tell me where in the mouth do we enunciate W. Yes, the organs of speech used are both the lips. So it's a bilabial sound. Voiced, bilabial, semi-vowel. Now let's enunciate the W sound in meaningful words. You'll see a table again in your workbooks. There are columns in the table. We'll consider the W sound in different positions in the word. Let's start off with the W sound at the beginning of the word. Everybody, please repeat after me. One, one, war, war, wait, wait, waste, waste, warm, warm, weak, weak, water, water, not water but water. Next, wallet, 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 winter, winter, winter. Next, welfare, welfare, welfare. Next, western, western. We must always bring our lips close together and then let them part. Western, western. Next, Wednesday, Wednesday, Wednesday. Now let's look at the W sound in the middle of the word. Sweat, sweat, twinkle, 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 question, question. Now tell me, where is the W sound in the word? Question. I don't see a question. Question. So we must be a little conscious of the fact that it's not only the letter W that would give us the W sound. Qu. Qu. After K, there's a W. Question. Quality. 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 Quantity. Quantity. So in these words, we realize that there is no sound called Q. Q is a letter, but it is associated with sounds which are K, W, and normally a vowel following. Question, quality, quantity. Now you may ask me, ma'am, where is the W word at the end? Where is the W sound at the end of the word? Well, actually there is no W sound at the end of the word. If I take a simple word like cow, C-O-W, cow, there's no W. If I say saw, S-A-W, saw, it just becomes the O sound. So please remember that W is a semi-vowel. And at the end of the word, it tends to combine with the vowel preceding it and normally become a diphthong. Anyway, we'll look further into the matter later in the session. Now let's go on to attempt an activity on words beginning with the W sound. Now let's go on to do an activity on words starting with the W sound. It's a picture activity. You'll see some pictures on the screen. What you have to do is write the correct word which describes the picture in your workbooks. All the words start with the W sound and we give you a certain number of blanks to fill. It's also a clue so that you know how long the word is. Look at the first picture, please. In this picture, you see a tap and something flowing out of it. What is that? You're right. It is water. Next, there's water in the picture again, but I would associate this picture with a different word. What is it? Yes, you're right. Wave. Wave, meaning leher. Next, what do you see in the picture? किसी का बटुआ दिख रहा है, उसमें कुछ पैसे हैं. What would we call this in English? It's not a purse, it is a wallet. W-A-L-L-E-T, wallet. Look at the next picture. Here you see somebody soaping his hands. What is he doing? A 4-letter word? Yes, wash. Wash. And in the next picture, what do you see? You see what seems to be a tar. What do we call tar in English? Wire. Wire. Next picture. What is this scary animal? I am terrified of these. What do we call this? In English, it's called a wasp. W-A-S-P. Wasp. Next picture. We see a lady in black on a broom. And we would call this a chudail. But in English, it's called witch. Witch. Next picture. We know what that is. It is a covered kuan or well. Well. Now this is slightly tough. What do you call the glass at the front of a car through which the driver looks out? What do you call it? It's called, I'll give you a clue first. It's called a wind something. It's there to protect the driver from the wind or from something flying into his eyes or hitting him. Wind. Yes, some of you know the answer. It's windshield. Windshield. Now in the picture you see a fish. Actually 2 fish, a mother and a calf. What would you call this? It's the largest mammal in the sea. It's called a whale. Whale. A very interesting fact is that the whale is not technically a fish. It's technically a mammal, but an aquatic mammal. Let's move on to the next picture. Here we see a spider, and what's the home of the spider? Correct, it's called web. Web. And on to the last picture. Here we have a saw. The saw seems to be cutting a plank off. What element is that? Yes, it's lakdi or wood. Wood. Now I'd like you to repeat all these words after me. And please do remember to open your mouth in that action. Were, were, were. That is the right way to enunciate the were. And loudly enunciate the sound while pronouncing the words. Please repeat after me. Water. Good. Water. Wave. Wave. W and V. Wave. Next, wallet. Wallet. Wash. Wash. Wire. Wire. Wasp. Wasp. Witch. Witch. Well. Well. Windshield. Windshield. Whale. Whale. Web. Web. And wood. Wood. Well done. Now let's go on to look at the were sound in sentences. And do remember, it's not only the W letter which would give us the were sound. Sometimes we get it from other letters as well. I have a lovely white sweater. I have a lovely white sweater. White and sweater. Next, where is my swimming costume? Where is my swimming costume? Were is in where and swimming. Next, the twin brothers talk so sweetly. The twin brothers talk so sweetly. Twin and sweetly. Next, I prefer quality over quantity. I prefer quality over quantity. Quality, quantity, both have the were sound. And these are important words. So please repeat them after me once again. Quality, quality, quantity, quantity. Next, I have a weakness for chocolates. I have a weakness for chocolates. The were word is weakness. Next, the bride looked gorgeous on her wedding. The bride looked gorgeous on her wedding. Wedding has the were sound. Next, her hands were stretched out in welcome. Her hands were stretched out in welcome. Welcome. Again, everybody, loudly. Welcome. Next, he heard a whistle and turned around to see a woman in a white robe. He heard a whistle and turned around to see a woman in a white robe. Whistle, woman, white. With that, we have discussed the were sound in sentences, and now it's time for another activity. In this activity, we need to be very conscious of the difference between the were and the were sounds. You have to choose the right option, and please keep in mind that a change in the sound would also change the meaning of the word. So I'm going to read out both the words first, then the two questions. And you have to supply the answer for both statements. I'm going to read out two words for you first. One with the were sound, one with the were sound. And then I'll read out two statements. You have to match the word with the statement. Wine, wine, wine. Please repeat after me. Funnel your lips. Wine and wine. Wine, wine. Now, one of these is a drink, the other is a plant. Can you tell me which is which? A drink and a plant. Next, wow, wow, wow and wow. One is a promise, the other is an expression of wonder. So which is which? One is a promise, the other an expression of wonder. Next, west, 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 west. One is a direction, the other is a piece of clothing or inner clothing. One is a direction, the other a piece of clothing. I think that's an easy one for you. Next, whale and whale. Whale, whale. One is another word for valley, ghati. The other, the largest sea animal. We've done it in the session, right? One is another word for a valley, the other is the largest sea animal. Next, wheel, 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 wheel. One is a kind of meat, the other, it's a part of a vehicle. One is a kind of meat, the other, a part of a vehicle. Part of a vehicle. Now let us discuss the answers. Wine is a drink. Wine is a plant. The grape plant, angur ki bel, is called wine. But the drink which we get by fermenting grapes is called wine. So everybody, please repeat these. Wine and wine. Next, wow is an expression of wonder, right? But wow is a promise. The next one was easy. West is a direction. Vest is a piece of clothing or underclothing. Everybody please repeat after me. West, 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 west. Next, another word for valley would be whale. Whale. The largest sea animal, you're right, whale. Whale. Next, the options were wheel and wheel. Now, a kind of meat would be wheel, but part of a vehicle, wheel. Repeat the words, please. Wheel and wheel. Through this exercise, we realize that certain words are quite confusing in the sense that the only difference is the w and the v sound. And if you're not conscious of the difference in the two sounds, or if we don't enunciate the sounds properly, it can be quite a mix-up. You may say the wrong word altogether. This is something we must avoid now onwards, because now we are aware that both the sounds are enunciated in a different manner. And now we have an interesting activity for you in which you have to identify all the words with the v and the w sounds. The passage is printed in your workbooks. I want you to pick up your pencils, underline all the words with the V sound and circle all the words with the W sound. The passage is called Lovely Banana. What a wonderful fruit the banana is. It is very popular all over the world. Its color tells us how sweet it is. A banana may be green, which means it is raw. The one which is yellow should be eaten at once. The question of the brown fruit is interesting. You may eat it, but don't bother chewing before you swallow. Would you eat the peel? For some, it's not only a cover. Banana skin is used in several cuisines all over the world. It's a versatile fruit. You can fry it, bake it, mash it, or eat it raw. You can snack on a raw banana in the evening. On weekends, you can drink banana shake or even eat banana ice cream. It's a convenient fruit. When you bite into it, you don't worry about squirting juice over everyone. And you can chew it all you like without driving your neighbors crazy with crunching sounds. Finally, it's easy to cut. You don't need a very sharp knife. You can slice it with a fork or a spoon if you like. Whoever can't eat bananas, babies can always eat mashed bananas before the teeth grow in. Grandparents can eat mashed bananas after their teeth fall out. While the fruit originated in Asia, it is also grown in Ecuador and Costa Rica. Bananas give us lots of potassium and vitamins A and C. They are never too expensive to buy. Now let's identify all the words with the V and the W sounds. Words with the W sound. What, wonderful, world, sweet, which, question. And we've discussed this before, haven't we? Question. Would, cuisines, world, weekends, when, worry, squirting, without. That was a very interesting passage. And I hope you've been able to identify all the words with the W and the V sound. Now I'd like you to go home and read the passage out aloud many times. Concentrate on the target sounds. Make sure you can enunciate them clearly. Let's keep in mind what all we've done today. We've understood how to enunciate the V and the W sound. We've practiced them in words. We've heard them in sentences. We've also had activities to reinforce our learning. Until I meet you again in another session, goodbye.